Hello, everybody. Wakey, wakey. This is part 2 of Peter Amundsen talking about the Tree of Life and Nolan's Cross. I hope you enjoy it. Give a listen. Should be okay. Here we go. And I thank him so much for joining us this afternoon, and of course this evening, is the man himself, Peter Amundsen.
Hello.
Yeah, there's always a small delay.
Mm-hmm. So it's my fault that there is this confusion with the time, because here it's almost 10 past 10 p.m. So it's a good night here.
No problem at all. No problem at all.
Well, I'm not going to bed in a few hours, so I hope that we will have a nice conversation about a certain island.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And like I have to ask you, even though everybody saw the clip and we're all fantastic members of this show, of all the things you had to connect with Peter, how in the world did you connect Shakespeare's writings to the code to Oak Island?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I wish that I could say that I did this and I did that, but of course it was not like that at all, because from the 1930s there has been this theory that Shakespeare has been connected with Oak Island. And I watched a video with Mark Finnan, whom we saw in this video clip that you had, and he talked about this theory, which I then thought was a little bit crazy, I must admit. But in the same video, I also saw Fred Nolan describing his cross, and immediately I noticed the possibility that this could be part of the Tree of Life. And about 6 months later, I was working with Shakespeare, and I saw that there was this possible Rosicrucian connection with Shakespeare, and I knew that the Rosicrucians were into the Kabbalah. And then it began to be less crazy, so I was connecting the dots, more or less. I did not discover the Shakespearean connection at all, but I helped to build a bridge between Shakespeare's writings and the island, and also trying to pinpoint where we should focus our attention.
Right. And also, when you were on the show, Peter, did you, I mean, they just showed us, you remember flipping that one rock, that boulder that was flat on one side, it was about 2 foot around. Now, did you find every boulder at every point all the way around on Mercy's Point on the show? Thank you, Peter.
No, we were looking in 2 places. We were looking at the Kingdom Sephiroth. So Sephiroth are those 10 points of the Tree of Life. So one is a Sephirah. So we were looking at the Kingdom Sephirah and also the Victory Sephirah. And these were the 2 points we were allowed to look at, and we also got hold of a boat. So we went into the swamp and we tried to pierce the Mercy Sephirah as well. And this was in 2003. So when you look at this clip, then they mentioned 2013, but I was there 10 years earlier.
Wow, I did not know that. Wow.
Okay.
So that's correct. The lowest point of, or the first point, depending on how we count it. If you count it from the top down or if you count it from the bottom up, there are 2 separate ways of counting this Tree of Life. So I look at it as the bottom because it's so connected with the cross. It is a beautiful way of joining Christianity and Judaism because you have this Christian cross, but you also have this very Jewish Kabbalistic symbol.
Mm-hmm.
To the immediate right of kingdom, if you look up the stem.
Right.
I'm just throwing up a couple of pictures.
On this picture that you have brought up, then there is a Star of David at the victory point. So the mercy point is one up, one to the right from the star. It was covered mostly in water and had some moss on top of it. But I have seen pictures of it taken later because Daniel Ronstam, the Swede, and Rick, and I think it was one more of the guys, they were out looking for it, and they found it, and they took nice pictures of it, and it's a beautiful stone, all flat on one side and rounded on the other. It's not a perfect mirror image of the Kingdom Stone, but they are quite similar. Yeah, we were looking at the surroundings of the Kingdom Stone, the one that you see there. We got a backhoe, and we were digging in diameter about 3 meters around and much deeper to see if we could find the other part of it.
Okay. Now, what stone was this, Peter? The one I got showing right now.
This is the Kingdom Stone.
That's the Kingdom Stone
from the 2013 production, I think.
Okay, alrighty. Just to show the members what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yes, but it's those granite rocks. They are quite brittle, so it's very difficult to determine whether this was man-made or just something that we hope to find. If it is confirmation bias that rules this, I'm not sure. But in 2003, we thought we saw it, and in 2013, it was not that obvious. So I wouldn't put too much faith in those dots, but they are interesting. They add to the mystery somehow.
Okay. And we had a big discussion, Peter, here on Fred Nolan's Headstone that's driving everybody crazy. What is your interpretation of this headstone and how it's facing, and why Fred Nolan never protected it? It's just out in the elements, getting deteriorated weekly. And what was your determination of this headstone? Thank you, Peter.
He had put a small bit of a plank of wood on top of the dagger. That was his protection of it. So he had tried to protect that part. Oh. So when we came by in 2003, it had a small piece of wood with a small stone just to keep it in place to protect it.
Fantastic.
Yeah. My interpretation, I can't use it for the Tree of Life, because what made me think of the Tree of Life originally when I watched this A&E video in about 2000, I don't remember exactly when I watched it. It was the lack of the stone at the juncture in the cross, because had there been one, then I may not have thought of the Tree of Life, but it's because there was no stone there. I was thinking that it could be a Tree of Life, since we had this stone that is called the cone D further down the stem.
Yep, and I should have downloaded the correct Tree of Life, Peter, but I'm sorry.
Yeah, this one that they used in the show has a red dot at the crossing, but that is incorrect.